Arya stood at the edge of the desert, feeling the warm wind brush her face. The sun shone brightly, casting long shadows over the golden sand. Before her lay a valley that no one had explored in modern times. Rumors spoke of a hidden tomb belonging to a pharaoh whose treasures were said to watch those who entered. Arya's heart raced with excitement and nervousness. This could be the greatest discovery of her life. Her team worked quietly behind her. Malik, her assistant, carefully adjusted the excavation tools while Lena, the geologist, checked the stability of the ground. A few more workers carried supplies, all following Arya's instructions. The valley was quiet except for the sound of wind and the soft clinking of tools against rock. Arya took a deep breath and stepped forward. The entrance to the tomb appeared as a massive stone doorway half buried in sand. Symbols carved into the surface reflected the sun with a strange golden shimmer. These carvings, they are unlike anything I have ever seen, Lena said, brushing her fingers over the markings. The symbols were intricate, showing figures of humans, animals, and strange objects. Some of the lines seemed to move in the sunlight. Arya felt a strange pull, as if the symbols were calling her. "Careful," Arya said. "We do not know what is inside. Take your time." They began removing the sand and stones blocking the doorway. Hours passed, and the entrance slowly revealed itself. As the last boulder was lifted, a soft glow came from inside. Arya shined her flashlight into the tomb, and her breath caught. The walls were covered in gold, smooth and bright, with patterns of eyes staring from every corner. Statues of watchers lined the walls, each one frozen in a pose of vigilance. Their eyes seemed almost alive, reflecting the light of the flashlight with a soft gleam. "Look at this," Malik whispered. He stepped closer, careful not to touch anything. "It feels like they are looking at us." Arya nodded. She had felt it too, a strange sense that the tomb was aware of their presence. She moved forward slowly, leading the team inside. The air grew cooler and heavier, carrying a faint scent of ancient stone and metal. Every step echoed softly against the walls. The golden statues seemed taller up close, their eyes glowing faintly as if they were alive. At the center of the first chamber, a golden mask rested on a pedestal. The mask was beautiful, carved with fine details, and it shimmered with a light that seemed to come from within. Arya reached out, unable to resist. As her fingers touched the gold, a shiver ran through her body. She felt a warmth, almost like the mask was breathing. Images flashed in her mind, people, lands, and strange machines she did not recognize. She pulled back quickly, her heart racing. "Arya, are you okay?" Malik asked, concern in his voice. I saw something," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. It was like a vision, something from the past. "I think this tomb is not just a burial place. It is more than that. It is alive in some way." Lena moved closer to inspect the walls.
"These symbols."
"They are not just decoration. They tell a story of the Pharaoh, of his people, and of something powerful that they wanted to protect forever." The team continued to explore, moving carefully through the chambers. Each room seemed more impressive than the last, filled with golden artifacts, intricate carvings, and statues that appeared to watch every movement. Arya felt a mixture of awe and fear. It was beautiful, but also intimidating. The tomb seemed to test them, as if it wanted to see who was brave enough to enter its heart. As night fell, Arya's team set up temporary lights. Shadows from the statues stretched across the walls, making the room seem alive. Arya could not sleep. She walked among the golden watchers, studying the symbols and carvings. Each statue seemed to hold a story, each eye a memory. She realized that this tomb was not meant for thieves or treasure hunters. It was meant to guard knowledge, to test the courage and intelligence of those who entered. Malik finally joined her. "I do not like this feeling," he admitted. "It is as if the statues know what we are thinking." Arya nodded. "I feel it too, but I think we are meant to be here. This tomb wants us to understand, not steal. We must be careful and respectful. Only then can we uncover its secrets." They returned to their camp for the night, but the tomb seemed restless. From inside, a faint glow pulsed like a heartbeat. The watcher's eyes reflected the lights from outside, moving slightly as if observing the humans who dared enter their world. Arya stared at the tomb, wondering what challenges awaited them. She knew one thing for certain. This discovery was unlike anything humanity had seen before. The tomb of the Pharaoh and his eternal watchers held secrets that could change history forever. Arya whispered softly to herself, "We are not here for gold. We are here for knowledge, and we must be worthy to receive it." The desert wind howled outside, carrying with it the feeling of eternity. Inside the tomb, the golden eyes of the watchers seemed to shimmer, waiting patiently for the humans who had dared to enter their world. The next morning, the desert sun rose slowly, casting long shadows across the golden sands. Arya and her team returned to the tomb, eager to continue their exploration. The air inside the entrance was cooler than outside, and the golden walls shimmered in the morning light. The statues of the watchers stood silent, their eyes fixed on the team as if measuring every step. Arya felt a strange energy in the air, a feeling that the tomb itself was alive. "Do you feel that?" Malik asked, his voice low. "It is like the tomb is breathing." Arya nodded. "I feel it. We must move carefully. Every step matters here." The team advanced into a large chamber. This room was filled with statues of watchers in different poses. Some held staffs, others had their hands open. Each seemed to be guarding something invisible, as if the air itself was a treasure. On the walls, symbols glowed faintly, pulsating with a soft golden light. Arya stepped closer, running her fingers along the carvings. She felt a hum in her chest, a vibration that seemed to match the pulsing light. "These statues, they are watching us more closely now," Lena said quietly. "It is like they know we are here." Arya studied the symbols carefully. "These carvings are not just decoration. They tell a story about the Pharaoh and his watchers. I think this tomb was designed to protect something more than gold. It is protecting knowledge, something he wanted to survive forever." Malik frowned. "Knowledge or danger?" Before Arya could answer, a soft clicking sound echoed through the chamber. The team froze. Shadows on the walls shifted unnaturally, as if the statues themselves had moved slightly. A low hum filled the room, vibrating through the floor. Arya held her flashlight steady, shining it across the statues. One of them, standing near the center of the room, had eyes that glowed brighter than before. It felt like the statue was alive, observing them carefully. Arya took a deep breath. "I think the tomb is testing us. It wants to see who is brave enough to proceed." She stepped forward slowly, making sure her movements were calm and deliberate. Malik followed closely while Lena stayed near the walls, studying the symbols. As they moved deeper into the chamber, the hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. The golden eyes of the watchers flickered in response to their steps, but they did not move aggressively. It was clear now that the statues were not trying to harm them. They were measuring something else. At the far end of the chamber, a large golden door blocked their path. Carved into it were scenes of the Pharaoh leading his people, teaching them and guarding a glowing treasure. Arya studied the carvings carefully. "This door is the heart of the tomb," she said. "Behind it is what the Pharaoh wanted to protect the most. I think it is knowledge, not gold." Malik looked nervous. "And what if it is dangerous?" Arya shook her head. "We will not know unless we proceed with courage and respect. The watchers will guide us if we are worthy." She pressed her hands gently on the golden door. A vibration passed through her fingers and images filled her mind. She saw the Pharaoh walking through his palace, teaching his people and performing rituals with the golden watchers. She saw the treasures of the tomb glowing softly, and then she saw a warning. Only those with pure intentions could survive and learn. Arya pulled back, her heart racing. The tomb is alive in some way. It can show us visions. It is testing our minds and our hearts. The team moved cautiously, following her lead. They discovered hidden passages filled with intricate carvings and small traps designed to slow intruders. Arya realized that the Pharaoh had thought of everything. Only those with intelligence, courage, and respect could navigate these passages. The Watcher's eyes followed them, glowing softly, guiding or warning them. As they reached a smaller chamber, they found a pedestal with a golden mask lying on it. Arya felt a strange pull toward the mask. When she touched it, visions of the Pharaoh's life flooded her mind. She saw his victories and defeats, his people working together, and the Golden Watchers standing guard. She understood that the mask was more than a piece of treasure. It held memories, stories, and wisdom from a time long ago. Malik watched her carefully. "Are you okay?" Arya nodded. "I have seen the past. This tomb is not just protecting gold. It is protecting the Pharaoh's knowledge and history. These watchers are its guardians. We must be careful. They respond to our courage, not fear." As night approached, the tomb seemed to come alive even more. Shadows shifted and the golden eyes of the statues glowed brighter. The team set up their lights, but even they could not compete with the soft glow of the golden walls. Arya could feel the tomb's presence all around them. watching and waiting. She whispered to Malik, "This is only the beginning. The tomb will continue to test us, but I think we are ready. We must be brave, clever, and respectful. Only then can we understand its secrets." Malik nodded slowly. "I feel it too. This place is alive and it is aware of us. We have to be careful and wise," Arya smiled faintly. "Yes, this is the real treasure. Not gold, but knowledge and understanding. If we succeed, humanity will learn things that were lost for centuries." The desert wind howled outside, but inside the tomb, the Golden Watchers waited silently. Their eyes glimmered softly, following every movement of the humans who had dared to enter. Arya felt a deep connection with them, as if they recognized her courage and intentions. The tomb was alive and it had chosen to test them. Arya took one last look around the chamber. Tomorrow we go deeper. We discover the heart of the tomb, and we do it with respect, courage, and wisdom. Only then will the Watchers reveal their secrets. The team settled down for the night, but sleep was difficult. The tomb hummed softly like a living thing breathing in the darkness. The golden eyes of the Watchers glimmered through the shadows, silently observing the humans who had entered their world. Arya knew that this journey had only just begun, and that the mysteries of the tomb would challenge them in ways they could not yet imagine. The morning sun barely touched the edge of the desert when Arya and her team returned to the tomb. The air inside was cooler, and the golden statues of Watchers seemed more alive than before. Every eye glimmered faintly, following their movements as if they remembered yesterday's exploration. Arya felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She knew today would be different. The tomb had begun testing them. "Look at them," Malik whispered, his voice trembling slightly. "They are like real beings, not statues," Arya nodded. "I feel it too. Yesterday was only the beginning. Today, we must be braver." The team moved carefully through the chambers they had already explored. Each room felt different now. Shadows seemed to shift without reason, and faint echoes of whispers filled the air. The golden walls glimmered as if they were breathing, and the eyes of the Watchers followed every step. Arya realized that the tomb was not simply a place of treasure. It was alive in some strange way, responding to their emotions, their courage, and their choices. They reached the central chamber, the largest room they had seen so far. At its center lay a pedestal, empty except for a golden circle etched into the floor. Arya studied it closely. Symbols around the circle glowed softly, forming patterns that seemed to change when she blinked. She stepped into the circle, feeling a sudden vibration beneath her feet. A soft hum filled the chamber, and the walls reflected images in the golden metal. Arya gasped as visions appeared before her eyes. She saw the Pharaoh walking through his palace, teaching his people, and performing rituals with the Golden Watchers. The Watchers moved gracefully, guiding citizens, protecting treasures, and maintaining harmony. Then the visions changed. Shadows appeared, threatening the people. The Pharaoh and his Watchers confronted them, using wisdom and courage to protect everything they had built. Malik and Lena watched, stunned. "It is showing the past," Lena said quietly. "Or maybe lessons from the past." Arya nodded. "It is more than that. It is a test. The tomb wants to see how we respond to fear, danger, and challenge. We must be brave, clever, and calm." Suddenly, the statues in the room shifted slightly. Their golden eyes glimmered brighter, and a low vibration ran through the floor. Shadows on the walls stretched and twisted, forming illusions of collapsing chambers, falling stones, and narrow paths. Malik stepped back, nearly losing his balance. "This is dangerous," he said. "We should leave." Arya grabbed his arm gently. "No, this is the test. The tomb will not harm us if we are careful and brave. We must face what it shows us." The illusions grew more intense. Arya could see figures rushing at them, walls closing in and traps opening along the floor. Her heart raced, but she focused on the Watchers' eyes. They were steady, calm, and glowing with light. She realized that the statues were guiding them, not threatening them. Each movement they made required thought, not panic. She led the team carefully, instructing them to move slowly and to trust their senses. As they progressed, the illusions faded. The shadows dissolved, and the chamber returned to its calm golden glow. The hum of the tomb softened, and the eyes of the Watchers returned to their usual gentle shimmer. Arya felt a wave of relief, but also a deeper understanding. The tomb was testing not just bravery, but wisdom. It wanted to see if they could stay calm and think clearly under pressure. At the far end of the chamber, A hidden doorway appeared, revealed by the soft glow of symbols. Arya stepped closer and saw a spiral staircase leading down into darkness. The air grew cooler and a faint scent of metal and stone rose from below. She knew that this was the next stage of the test. "We need to go down," she said softly. "The tomb is leading us further. This is where the Pharaoh kept his most important secrets. But we must remain careful. Every step matters." Malik swallowed hard but nodded. "I trust you, Arya. I will follow." Lena examined the doorway. "The carvings here are different. They speak of courage and wisdom. We must remember that. The Watchers are not enemies. They are guides." As they descended the spiral staircase, the golden walls reflected their lights, creating patterns that seemed to move with them. The hum of the tomb became louder, more rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Arya felt a strange connection to the Watchers. It was as if they were acknowledging her courage and understanding. She realized that the tomb was not just a place of tests. It was teaching them, preparing them for something greater. At the bottom of the staircase, a new chamber opened before them. Golden statues lined the walls, and in the center lay another pedestal. On it rested a small golden mask, glowing softly with an inner light. Arya stepped forward carefully. When she touched the mask, visions filled her mind again. She saw the Pharaoh choosing leaders, teaching people and performing rituals with care and wisdom. She understood that the tomb was revealing not just history, but guidance for the future. Malik watched her silently. "It is incredible," he whispered. "This place, it is alive in a way I cannot explain." Arya nodded. "It is alive. It responds to our hearts and minds. The tomb is showing us that courage, wisdom, and respect are more important than gold or power. That is the lesson of the Watchers." As they left the chamber for the night, the golden eyes of the statues glimmered softly behind them. The tomb hummed quietly, as if satisfied with their progress. Arya knew the challenges ahead would be greater. The tomb had more tests, more illusions, and more secrets waiting to be revealed. But she also knew that humanity's courage and intelligence could meet any challenge. Arya whispered softly to herself, "We will continue. We will learn. And we will respect the Watchers and their wisdom." Outside, the desert wind blew, carrying the feeling of eternity. Inside, the golden statues stood silent, observing the humans who dared to enter their world. The tomb was alive, and it had begun to trust them. The next day, Arya and her team returned to the tomb with a mix of excitement and caution. They had passed the first tests, survived the illusions, and navigated the hidden staircases. Now the air seemed different, heavier yet calm, like the tomb itself was waiting for them. The golden Watchers lining the walls appeared brighter, their eyes focused on the humans who had earned the right to proceed. "This chamber feels different," Malik whispered, his eyes wide as they entered. "It feels alive," Arya nodded. "Yes, this is the heart of the tomb. The Pharaoh's most important secrets are here. We must be careful and respectful." The chamber was vast, larger than anything they had seen before. The walls were covered in gold, smooth and reflective. Statues of Watchers formed a perfect circle around the center. At the center of the room was a large pool, its surface glowing softly. Arya approached cautiously. As she looked into the golden liquid, her reflection shimmered strangely, then shifted into images. Faces, scenes, and objects appeared, moving as if alive. "The gold, it is showing something," Lena said softly. "It is more than treasure, it is alive." Arya reached out, lightly touching the surface. Instantly, visions filled her mind. She saw the Pharaoh walking among his people, teaching them and guiding them. The golden Watchers moved gracefully around him, protecting and observing. Then the images changed. The gold displayed warnings, dangers that had threatened the Pharaoh's kingdom, challenges that required courage and intelligence to overcome. Arya realized that the pool was a record, a living memory of the past. "This is incredible," Malik said, stepping closer. "It is like the gold remembers everything. It shows the past, but also lessons for the future." Arya nodded. "Yes, this is what the tomb has been protecting. Not just treasure, but knowledge. The Watchers and the gold preserve wisdom for those who are worthy." As they studied the pool, the statues' eyes glowed brighter. The golden Watchers seemed to respond to their presence, guiding them toward certain images. Arya noticed that when they approached the edges of the pool, the visions became clearer, showing more details. She realized that the tomb rewarded observation, patience, and respect. Greed or haste would show the wrong intentions. Suddenly, the gold began to ripple, forming shapes in the air above the pool. Faces of people long gone appeared, moving as if alive. The figures performed actions, spoke silently, and demonstrated tasks. Arya could see the Pharaoh giving advice, teaching skills, and showing how to solve problems. It was as if the gold contained memories not just of objects, but of intelligence, knowledge, and the essence of humanity itself. "This is more than I imagined," Lena said. "It is like the gold watches, remembers, and teaches." Malik took a hesitant step forward. "Do you think it can see us too?" Arya thought carefully. "Yes, I think it knows who we are. The Watchers and the gold respond to our hearts and minds, not just our actions. It is a test, but also an opportunity. If we are brave and wise, we can learn from it." They spent hours observing the pool, learning from the images and patterns. Arya could feel her mind opening to ideas that had been lost for centuries. She saw methods of building, organizing, and understanding the world that were beyond current knowledge. She realized that the Pharaoh's tomb was a gift to humanity, preserved for those who could understand and respect it. As they worked, Arya noticed the Golden Watchers shifting slightly, forming positions that pointed toward one side of the chamber. Following their guidance, the team discovered a hidden passage behind a large statue. The passage led to a smaller room, filled with artifacts that glimmered faintly. Tools, scrolls, and small devices lined the walls. Each seemed to carry instructions or knowledge. The gold from the central pool reflected in the artifacts, making them glow as if alive. "This is amazing," Malik whispered. The Pharaoh preserved not just memories, but practical knowledge as well. "Skills, inventions, ideas," Arya nodded, her eyes shining. "This is what the tomb wanted us to find. Knowledge for the future, not just gold or treasure, but wisdom and understanding. This is what humanity can use to grow stronger and wiser." The team carefully documented their findings, taking notes and observing each artifact. They understood that the gold and the Watchers were not meant to be taken away. The tomb was a living library, meant to guide those who were patient and worthy. Arya felt a deep respect for the Pharaoh and his foresight. As the sun set outside the tomb, the golden pool glimmered with a soft, steady light. The Watchers' eyes followed the team, not with hostility but with quiet approval. Arya knew that they had passed another stage of the tomb's trials. They had shown courage, intelligence, and respect. The gold had shared its first lessons, and there was more to learn. Arya whispered softly, "We are ready to continue. The tomb has shown us its heart. We must carry this knowledge carefully and wisely. The Watchers and the gold are not just treasures. They are guides for humanity's future." The team left the chamber, but the golden eyes of the Watchers continued to glow, following them silently. The gold in the central pool rippled gently, reflecting the light of their torches. Arya felt a connection to the tomb, as if it acknowledged their progress. She understood that the journey was far from over, but the tomb had begun to trust them. Humanity had earned its first glimpse of the knowledge that had waited for centuries, and the Watchers were ready to reveal more. The next morning, Arya and her team prepared to descend deeper into the tomb. They had passed the previous tests, survived the illusions, and resisted the greed of intruders. Now they were near the heart of the tomb, where the Pharaoh's greatest secrets were said to rest. A sense of calm determination filled Arya's chest as she led her team through the golden corridors. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Malik nodded, adjusting his tools and flashlight. "I am. I think we have learned to understand the tomb. We must continue carefully." Lena checked the walls, brushing her fingers over the golden symbols. "The carvings here are different. They speak of choices, of responsibility. The Pharaoh wanted those who enter to think carefully about what they take and what they learn." The team followed the narrow passage until it opened into a vast chamber. The walls were covered in gold, reflecting the light from their torches. Statues of Watchers stood in perfect symmetry, their eyes glowing gently. At the center of the room lay the Pharaoh's sarcophagus, surrounded by a ring of golden Watchers. Their eyes seemed brighter, more alert, as if anticipating the humans' approach. Arya stepped closer, her heart beating faster. She could feel the energy of the tomb vibrating through the floor. The Pharaoh's sarcophagus was beautiful, carved with intricate patterns and symbols of power, wisdom, and protection. Gold glimmered on every surface, reflecting both light and the ancient knowledge preserved within. "This is it," Arya whispered. "The heart of the tomb. The Pharaoh's final legacy is here." Malik looked uneasy. "Do we touch it? Do we open it?" Arya shook her head. We must be careful. The tomb will respond to our choices. The Watchers are alive, and the gold will reveal what is important. As they approached the sarcophagus, a soft golden glow rose from the gold surrounding it. The pool of gold near the center of the chamber shimmered, projecting visions into the air. Arya saw the Pharaoh alive, teaching his people, sharing knowledge and protecting the kingdom. She saw challenges, conflicts, and solutions. The gold seemed to communicate, showing her lessons of leadership, morality, and intelligence. Malik gasped. It is not treasure we can take. It is wisdom, knowledge, and guidance. Arya nodded. Yes, this is the gift of the tomb. Golden artifacts are only part of it. The real treasure is the knowledge preserved for humanity. If we take it with the right intentions, we will honor the Pharaoh's legacy. Suddenly, the Golden Watchers shifted slightly, forming a tighter circle around the sarcophagus. Their eyes glimmered intensely as if giving a final challenge. Arya felt a connection to them, sensing that the tomb wanted her team to make a choice. Take the gold and risk the tomb's wrath, or take the knowledge and leave most of the treasure untouched. The team looked at each other, understanding the gravity of the moment. Malik's eyes rested on the golden artifacts, shining temptingly. Lena studied the projections of wisdom in the air. Arya took a deep breath, placing her hand gently on the edge of the sarcophagus. She could feel the energy of the tomb, the ancient knowledge calling to her. This is not about gold, Arya said quietly. It is about understanding and sharing knowledge. That is what the Pharaoh wanted. That is what the Watchers protect. Malik nodded slowly. Then we leave the treasure behind and take the lessons. That is the right choice. As Arya and her team focused on the knowledge, the golden eyes of the Watchers glowed brighter, almost as if approving their decision. Visions filled the chamber, showing inventions, strategies, and ideas lost to time. Arya saw ways to improve humanity's understanding of science, leadership, and morality. She understood that the tomb had chosen them to carry this knowledge to the world. Carefully, the team documented everything they could. They observed the gold, studied the artifacts, and memorized the lessons projected by the shimmering pool. The tomb responded to their patience and respect, revealing more insights than they could have imagined. The Pharaoh's sarcophagus remained untouched, surrounded by the Watchers who had protected it for centuries. Arya understood that some things were meant to remain sacred, preserved for those who were worthy. By respecting the tomb, they had passed the final test. As they prepared to leave, Arya whispered to Malik and Lena, "We have learned what the tomb wanted us to learn. Knowledge and wisdom are stronger than gold. Courage, respect, and intelligence have guided us here. Humanity will benefit from this if we use it wisely." The golden eyes of the Watchers glimmered softly as the team moved toward the exit. The tomb seemed calmer now, as if satisfied with their choices. Arya felt a deep sense of accomplishment and responsibility. The tomb had trusted them, and they had honored that trust. Outside, the desert sun was high, casting warm light across the sands. The tomb remained behind them, silent and eternal, its golden Watchers patiently awaiting the next generation. Arya looked back at the entrance, feeling the weight of history and the promise of the future. She knew that what they had learned would change humanity, inspiring growth, wisdom, and understanding for years to come. Arya turned to her team. "We have completed the Pharaoh's test. Now it is our responsibility to share what we have learned. The Watchers and the gold have shown us the true value of knowledge, and it is up to us to carry it forward." Malik smiled, feeling both relief and pride. "We did it. We passed their test." Lena nodded, her eyes shining. "And we have learned something more important than gold. The real treasure is what we now carry in our minds and hearts." The desert wind blew softly, carrying the sense of eternity. The tomb stood quiet and majestic, its golden eyes glowing faintly, guarding its treasures and wisdom. Humanity had taken the first steps into a world of knowledge preserved for centuries, guided by the courage, respect, and intelligence of those who dared enter. The sun was beginning to rise over the desert as Arya and her team emerged from the tomb. The golden walls, the Watchers, and the shimmering knowledge remained behind, silent and eternal. The desert stretched endlessly around them, but the weight of what they had experienced made the world feel new, alive with possibilities. Malik brushed sand from his boots, glancing back at the tomb. "It feels like the Pharaoh and his Watchers are still looking at us," he said softly. "Even though we are outside, I feel their presence." Arya nodded. "They are. The tomb is alive in a way we cannot fully understand. It trusts us now because we respected it, because we chose knowledge over gold. Lena adjusted her pack, her eyes bright with excitement. We have to share this carefully. The world must know that the Pharaoh's treasure was not just gold or jewels. It was wisdom, preserved for those willing to learn and understand. The team began their journey back to their base camp, moving slowly through the desert. Each step seemed measured, as if they were carrying something far heavier than tools or supplies. The lessons of the tomb were with them, alive in their minds. Arya felt the weight of responsibility, but also the spark of hope. Humanity could grow stronger, smarter and better if they used what they had learned wisely. As they walked, Arya thought about the Golden Watchers. They had not been mere statues. They had tested the team's courage, intelligence, and respect. They had shown that knowledge was far more valuable than gold. Arya realized that the Pharaoh had left a gift for humanity, one that could last forever if treated properly. When they returned to camp, the team set up equipment to record and analyze their findings. Arya carefully documented the visions from the Golden Pool, the symbols on the walls, and the lessons shown by the Pharaoh's artifacts. Each discovery was incredible, revealing inventions, strategies, and ways of thinking lost for centuries. It was a library of knowledge, preserved not just in books but in a form that could guide humanity in ways they had never imagined. Malik looked at her with awe. This is bigger than anything I ever imagined. The tomb is alive and it teaches. I feel like we've seen the past, the present, and the future all at once. Arya smiled. Yes, and now it is up to us to carry this knowledge forward. The tomb showed us that the true test is not just surviving or finding treasure. The real test is how we use what we have learned. Lena added, we must be careful. People might want gold, power, or fame. We have to remember what the tomb taught us. Knowledge is for those who are worthy, those who respect it. Days passed as the team carefully studied their findings. They shared what they could safely record with trusted scholars, scientists, and historians. The lessons of the Pharaoh began to spread quietly but powerfully. New ideas for technology, governance, and cooperation emerged. Humanity felt inspired, encouraged to think carefully and work together, guided by the wisdom preserved in the Golden Tomb. Arya often thought about the Watchers. Their eyes had seemed to follow the team even after they left, glowing softly in memory. She realized that the Watchers were not just protectors. They were teachers. They had tested the team to prepare them to share knowledge responsibly. The Pharaoh had built a system that would endure through centuries, and it had chosen the right people at the right time. One evening, as the desert sky turned gold with sunset, Arya stood alone near the camp, looking toward the tomb in the distance. The golden walls shimmered faintly, as if acknowledging her presence. She felt a deep sense of peace. The tomb had trusted them and humanity had passed the test. Malik joined her quietly. Do you think anyone else will be able to enter and understand it? He asked. Arya nodded thoughtfully. Yes, but only those who are brave, respectful, and wise. The tomb chooses who is ready. Not everyone is meant to see its heart. Lena approached, holding a notebook filled with the golden lessons. We must remember this forever. The knowledge, the wisdom, the courage, it is all more valuable than any treasure. Arya looked at the horizon where the desert met the sky. Humanity has been given a gift. Now we must use it well. We have learned that courage, intelligence, and respect can unlock wonders beyond imagination. That is the real treasure of the Pharaoh's tomb. The team packed their equipment and prepared to leave the desert. They knew their lives had changed forever. The Golden Watchers and the tomb's knowledge would remain patient and eternal, waiting for the next humans who were ready to understand. But Arya and her team had learned the most important lesson, that wisdom was far greater than wealth, and courage and respect could guide humanity to greatness. As they rode away across the sands, the tomb shimmered faintly in the distance. The golden eyes of the Watchers glimmered with quiet approval. The Pharaoh's legacy had been fulfilled. Humanity had glimpsed the power of knowledge, the importance of morality, and the strength of courage. Arya smiled, feeling the pride of having honored the tomb. The desert wind carried the echoes of eternity, and the tomb waited silently, knowing that one day humanity would return, wiser and ready to learn more. The Golden Watchers had fulfilled their purpose, teaching those who were worthy and guarding the knowledge that could change the world. Arya whispered softly, "We will remember." We will respect, and we will use what we have learned to guide humanity toward a better future. The sun set over the desert, painting the sands with golden light. The tomb remained, eternal and vigilant, its watchers ready to protect and teach for all time. Humanity had discovered a treasure beyond gold, a treasure that would endure forever, the wisdom of the Pharaoh and the golden watchers of eternity.